All right, so in the last video, we talked about how to biohack your gut and the importance of having a healthy gut microbiome in weight loss. Healthy organisms that are in balance and in homeostasis, which is just a fancy nerd word for balance, lose weight easier. So we want to try to get there. Now let's talk about how to biohack your movement. And what I've done is, because this is such an important topic and one that there's many different facets based on the type of exercise that you like and prefer, I created a movement deep dive video. So the first action step in this is just to watch that. It's a little bit longer, but if you're someone that is really good at strength training, I recommend you focusing on the parts of that that have to do with building a bigger aerobic engine. You know, in fact, for health and longevity, that should be all of our focus, is building a bigger aerobic engine through steady state cardiovascular training, some sprints, some intervals. But most people neglect the cardio, they neglect the yoga, the flexibility, the mobility, and that's really what, you don't see a lot of healthy centenarians that are packed, carrying around a whole bunch of muscle. You do see a lot of meatheads that are dying in their 40s. So prioritize your training accordingly. Strength is important for keeping lean muscle mass, which has benefits, especially as we age. But it does not supersede having a bigger aerobic engine. I recommend 80% of your training is focused in that area. But anyway, action step number one, go into that movement deep dive video and watch that. Put together a program that's right for you. I'm gonna give you an example, a sample workout that I put together for Russell. He's a guy that represents a pretty good cross-section of the population, someone that's used to weight training, they're in the gym a good amount, and they're not seeing the results that they want. So I'll tell you what we did with him, and that will help too. But let's boil this down to the simplest form. Rather than regurgitate the same things that are in the nutrition, or the movement deep dive video, I'm just gonna share some stuff here that's a little bit unique, and you'll get all of that information from there. So make sure that I would even pause this video and go do that right now, and then come back and you'll get some additional pointers. All right, so hopefully you've watched the movement deep dive video. Now, keeping this as simple as possible, you don't need to know the most effective workout. If you're eating right and you're taking steps to reestablish balance in your body, troubleshooting some of the things that we talk about in the Biohacker's Guide to Upgraded Energy and Focus, identifying what your bottlenecks may be, then you don't need to do insane workouts or crush yourself and do these glycolytically demanding CrossFit type workouts while also restricting your carbohydrates so that you eventually start getting moody and stop having your period if you're a woman, which I've seen happen. I've seen guys where they lose their sex drive. You don't want to deal with any of that. You want to seek balance and sustainability and workouts that are fun. And when the nutrition is there, I've had clients that just go and they do dance workouts, Zumba and size and things like that, and that's enough for them to lose weight. Now, if you want to eat a lot of the junk, especially if you're over the age of 21, it's going to be hard. And it gets harder every year to outwork a bad diet. But in those cases, if you're like, hey, I want to work out like a maniac because I also want to eat a lot of junk throughout the week, power to you. That's all right. But understand that on a long enough timeline, the body will start to break down. And if you're not handling this in an intelligent fashion, the amount of time that you can train may be cut short. So, in the simplest form, sweat every day, set aside 30 minutes. This morning, I didn't feel like working out. I'm here in Boise, it's beautiful, it's sunny out. I woke up, I did some work, I kind of delayed a little bit, and then I said, all right, I just gotta get outside and do something. Something is better than nothing, right? Especially if I'm getting sun, I'm breathing. And all I did was I got out, I got in nature, I did a little light jogging, I did some stretching. When I felt like walking, I did some walking. When I felt like doing some push-ups, I did some push-ups. I did some breathing exercises like Wim Hof, where I would also, anyway, if you're not familiar with the Wim Hof method, check that out. It's a fabulous breathing exercise for hyperoxygenation and strengthening the lungs and practicing resisted breathing. I did some of that. I spent some time jogging towards the sun, looking up in that direction, charging my body up. And I know that sounds weird, but if you want some of the science, they've now shown that full spectrum sunlight interacts with tyrosine through the retina to produce dopamine in our body. I talked with neurosurgeon Jack Cruz about my dad who has Parkinson's, and I said, what's the best thing he can do? And he said, live like the Sphinx. Have him take off his contacts, take off his glasses, which filter out some of the UV light, have him spend time looking towards the sun or at the sun, and have him connect with Earth, take his shoes off, connect to the Earth's electromagnetic field. So he's getting those negative electrons that act like powerful antioxidants in the body and increase our zeta potential, which is that energy between red blood cells. All of these things, that's what matters. It didn't matter if I went out and said, I don't think I could run for 30 minutes straight today, so I'm not going to do anything. No, you just get out, you do something. You stretch, you move, you breathe, you sweat. And some days that's good enough. But you say, no matter what excuses I come up with, when my alarm goes off or when I start doing work and try to distract myself with other things, I'm going to sweat for 30 minutes a day. And that 30 minutes will make the other 23 and a half hours even better. If that's all you know and you make that a part of your daily routine and you do it, you will get far better results than 99% of the people out there. I promise you that, especially if you're taking steps to increase your cardiovascular endurance and build a bigger aerobic engine. So that maybe right now, maybe you can't run at all, but you go out there every day and you walk, and then you start walking faster, and then you start jogging for a minute, and you start jogging for a minute and a half. Just increase 30 seconds each time. I have a client that's 33 years old. She's got rheumatoid arthritis. Her name's Rochelle. Couldn't jog at all when she started. She couldn't even carry her groceries. She had trouble opening her door. We just ran for 19 minutes the other day. She hadn't even jogged before. Her body was literally breaking down. And this is 2.5 months in to us working together. You can get these kind of results if you have that commitment and that consistency. But if you're just seeking information, if you're looking for shortcuts and you're looking for supplements, it's never going to happen for you. And that's just me being real. It's because I want this for you. That's why I keep rehashing and repeating these things, because we learn through repetition, and having the right mindset, knowing that the consistency, the daily habits, that matters more than anything else, is what's going to help get you there. So sweat every day. Aim for 15 to 20,000 steps a day if you want fat loss. I keep hitting my watch like it's a Fitbit Charge HR, but I'm talking about an activity tracker. Whether it's a Fitbit Charge HR or a Jawbone or whatever you like, use something that tracks your steps daily and try to get 15 to 20,000 plus. I've had clients start off at 2,000, and just getting to 10,000 sounds impossible, but then they're quickly there. And then they're like, I got 20,000 today. And it's like this huge milestone, and it completely expands their idea of what's possible. Do that. Hit 15 to 20,000 steps a day. If you're ever below 10,000, pick it up. Find more ways to move more. You can do it. 4 to 6 workouts a week minimum. I usually recommend 5 to 6 at the beginning, and then if you need to taper it down after you've got some great results, do so. Russell was really good with strength training. He wasn't doing a lot of cardio. He wasn't doing a lot of sprinting. So I said, let's keep this super simple. On Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we would have him do like a 3-minute push-up challenge, where he would basically go super, super slow, 15-second eccentric movement where he's lowering his body to the ground all the way down, touching the chest, and then 15 seconds where he pushes himself all the way back up, and doing that for a full 3 minutes. So each repetition, if you're doing it on pace, should be about 30 seconds. And he goes as long as he possibly can until he needs to take a break. Then he goes and he tries to go in. So he's trying to work for as much of that 3 minutes as possible. And at the first time you're doing it, you may only be able to do it for 20 seconds or 30 seconds. Or if you're a woman, you may need to do a modifier from your knees. That's okay. It's not a lesser form of the exercise. It's just where you're at right now. And if you're consistent, you will improve. So he would do the 3-minute push-up challenge, which I explain in the movement deep dive video. And then he would go out for a 25, 30-minute jog. And he would try to do that jog in his aerobic zone. You calculate your target aerobic zone. It's so simple. So you can write this down right now. This is action step number 2. So 1, watch the movement deep dive. Number 2, calculate your target aerobic zone. This is for steady state cardiovascular activity. And it's probably going to be lower than you're used to or that you would expect. You take 180 and you subtract your age. So if you're 40 years old, that would be 140 beats per minute is the upper threshold. Subtract 10 from that to get the lower threshold. That's 130 beats per minute. So when you are doing your steady state cardio, you want your heart rate to be between 130 and 140 beats per minute. I wear a heart rate monitor with a chest strap. I recommend you do as well. The one that I have is the Garmin Forerunner 220. It's a little bit expensive. You can get there's a whole bunch of them on Amazon. Polar is a great brand. Garmin is a great brand. There's other variations. As long as it's got a chest strap, it works a lot better than even the Fitbits that take your heart rate from your wrist. It's just more accurate here. And when I go out and I'm saying, all right, I'm going to do a 30-minute jog. Russell, do a 30-minute jog. If Russell were 40 years old, he would try to keep his heart rate between 30 and 40 beats per minute for that entire amount of, 130 and 140 beats per minute for that entire amount of time. So that's Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Then on Tuesdays, he does a 90-second run. And it's, you warm up, get your blood flowing, where you're breathing, you're starting to sweat, and then he does for 90 seconds, he runs all out as far as he can. And he marks where he makes it to on that Tuesday. Then the next Tuesday, he tries to beat it. He tries to see how much he can beat that by. So you're running a greater distance at a faster speed in the same amount of time. You do that every Tuesday, and then if you want, you can stop. If you want to do some steady state jogging after that, cool. If you want to do some push-ups after that, cool. If you want to do some squats after that, cool. That's fine. Then Wednesday we talked about, same as Monday. Thursday is 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off sprints. Or if he's got the heart rate monitor and he has more time, he can do a 30-second all-out sprint, followed by letting his heart rate come down to about 120, 125 beats per minute. That lets him know that he's recovered. Then you go into another 30-second all-out sprint. And you would do that for a total of 6 minutes of work time. If you're not at sprinting, again, just get out and sweat. You don't need to say like, oh, I can't do this workout right now. That's fine. Do what you can do. Set aside those 30 minutes and just move and breathe and stretch. That's good enough. Friday is the same workout as Monday. Saturday, he could either do 45 to 60 minute steady state workout in his, like a jog outside in his target aerobic zone, or he could do a 2-mile test where he runs 2 miles as fast as he can, and he's aiming to have it under 14 minutes. So that is the goal there. And you take wherever you're at, and then you just try to improve on that every Saturday. If you're doing that 2-mile drill, having it under 14 minutes is a very good sign of cardiovascular fitness. And there's some other tests that I provide in the movement deep dive that will help you there too. Or if you don't want to do the 2-mile test, then go for a 45 to 60 minute jog in your target aerobic zone, like we talked about. And then Sunday, I recommend the 3-minute push-up pull-up challenge, which is, oh, I'm sorry, not 3 minutes, the push-up pull-up challenge. And the way that you do the push-up pull-up challenge is you see how long does it take you to do 30 full range of motion push-ups and 30 full range of motion pull-ups. Pull-ups are the ones with your palms facing away. And if you can't do any pull-ups right now, you practice. And you get better. You work on the negative and everything. So the best time I've heard with that is Tony Horton. He did it in 1 minute, did 30 and 30 in 1 minute. But yeah, so we did that with Russell. We calculated all of his times where they're at right now so he can track it week over week. Like we said, what gets measured gets managed. So write it down in Evernote, track your numbers, see the improvements. And that's a simple workout week that we put together for Russell. Now, eventually we may need to taper that down. We may need to taper it up, but that's okay. At least he's taking action and he's doing it consistently every day. You don't brush your teeth 3 days a week or 4 days a week the same way you don't move your body 3 days a week, 4 days a week. You move your body every day. You sweat every day. This is a part of your routine. It's a part of who you are. It's a part of the way you live your life. And that's how these results stick. So action, make sure you watch the movement deep dive video and do all the other things we just talked about. Sweat every day. Hit 15 to 20,000 plus steps a day. Get your workouts in. Build out your daily routine so that it fosters success. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your conviction and commitment. I'm really proud of you watching these, taking action, and I look forward to speaking with you in another video.